Okay, hey there, everyone. Give me a heads up, please. Just type in the usual that you can hear me. Usually I can tell that you can hear me, but it's always nice if somebody just gives me a heads up. I'm sure you can see the screens, so we're going to get cracking right on time. It's a beautiful Friday on this rainy, miserable day in Pennsylvania, and I'm really happy to be here today for day two of the challenge. So let's get cracking right now. Let's get started. So, once again, welcome. I think we had a really good session yesterday, so we'll go over a couple of quick things and then we're going to get right into it. So, first off, and I know, winning the challenge, losing the challenge, it's not that important to most people, but it's kind of, we try to make the challenge fun and educational. So we are going to give away two 30-day full pro memberships. We're going to raffle them off, and I thought I would do it after the weekend, if you all don't mind. Well, the only thing that we ask for is you got to show up for the sessions, so the people that have a chance of winning have been here, and we would need you to make a video or an audio file just telling us about how the experience was for you, whether you liked the challenge, didn't like the challenge, what you liked about it, and then you could post that file into the WhatsApp group. So I will post in the chat how you get to the WhatsApp group, and that's all we need if you want to win the challenge. If you don't care, it doesn't. Is it the biggest deal in the world? Probably not. But we've had some people that have won, a lifetime magnet software. So it is fun if you win, and you do become a member of the community if you win. So it is worthwhile if you want to just post a video or an audio file. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. We like to see you. It's fun. But I will announce the winner in an email on Monday. So gives everybody a chance to watch the recordings. If you show up to one of the sessions and you watch the recordings, we're pretty flexible about who can win, and we'll give everybody a pretty good shot. So that's all you have to do to win the challenge. So let's get started right on with just the day. Get started with everything we're going to do. We have a lot to cover, and I just want to talk about everything being a system. That's so important. Today was a very interesting trading day. The day started with the GDP report. I knew in my gut that I should not trade a gold breakout, and the gold breakout stopped me out. And I knew it was going to be a lousy trade. But we also did something that was kind of funny. Um, when Trump announces something in his Truth Social before a major report is released, it's usually him giving away the report before the report's released. And this morning, he was complaining about GDP being lousy because of the Democratic shutdown. So in the trade room, I thought we would try something fun and different. And this is not 100% related to the challenge, but it's 100% related to why you want to be involved with us, because we know what's going on. And we're very aware of the news, the markets, trading. And what we did is we decided we would so here's the scenario. The president was complaining about the GDP being lousy before the GDP report came out. So we put a short on in the room before the report came out. And wouldn't you know it, the report was lousy. And people that took the short made money. And that's kind of the fun of being in a community. And that's a big part of what we do at 10-Minute Trades. We have a community that's growing, and it's a great group of people that help each other in the room. And that was just a lot of fun. and just kind of a crazy thing that happened. But if you notice, there's these tweets are being made before reports. That data is not supposed to be talked about, but I think we're going to have a new type of trade. We're going to call it the insider trader trade. And if there's a tweet before a major news report, there might be a new opportunity that we didn't think about previously. But it was kind of fun this morning. So I wanted to, but it all is part of everything being a system. It wasn't necessarily a magnet trade, although ironically it was getting near a low, and lows are magnets. News often triggers magnets, and you got to keep that in mind. Market opens are triggering magnets. What are triggering winning trades? And tweets trigger winning trades. News triggers winning trades. All of these behaviors that we see from our politicians trigger winning trades. So one of the most important things that we stress in the room are the tools that you need to use while you're trading. Don't forget the important tools. Don't sell yourself short by being cheap and not subscribing to certain things that will help you be a winning trader. Sometimes you have to spend a few dollars to make a few dollars. And what I'm talking about really is if we didn't take care of certain tools and didn't pay for certain tools, we wouldn't do as well. And one of the tools that is very important is Financial Juice Pro. And we're not even, involved with that company. We don't have anything to gain by you joining up with Financial Juice. But they have a tool that's so useful. And it's something that we use all the time. And it's called their voice news. And their voice news is so important. Besides the calendars that we use, the schedule that we use, but their voice news is very reasonably priced. And it allows us to hear the news, to find out about a tweet the exact moment that it takes place. This is one of the tools that I recommend that people get for themselves, and you just have it on all day long if you're trading. Whether you're trading news or not, it doesn't matter. It's a tool that will help you to make money because you'll have an idea sometimes which way the market's going to go that a regular person who's not aware of these tools, they may not know. And that also means that you need to keep checking the calendars every week, if not every day. Forexfactory.com, investing.com, tradingeconomics.com. That's a calendar that most of you don't know about because we don't talk about it all that much. But tradingeconomics.com is a new calendar that we've been looking at. And this particular calendar has grain reports on it. It's one of the few that has grain reports. They show you what the important events are by showing a red rectangle, and that shows you, hey, PCE price index, that's an important report. And then you get data. All these calendars, you can go much deeper into the news by clicking on these reports, and there is a lot to learn by using these calendars, and most of them are free. So definitely get into the habit of using calendars, free tools. There's a whole bunch of free things that we use every day in our trade room. They're part of using your charts and having charts that are similar to ours. And another tool that we use that I want to make sure everybody knows about, couple of different tools. And what I will do when the challenge is over, I always put together a sheet of links of tools that you can use. So you don't have to worry about writing all of these down right now. I'll make sure that I send out an email with a bunch of tools that everybody needs, because the trading, the Squawk Box is a good tool. The clock that we use is a great tool. What do I mean, the clock that we use? Take a look. We have a clock called Topmost Clock. It's free and we use it all the time. And it's especially when you're trading the way that we trade on a schedule, this little clock that's free is so important. I can't tell you how important it is. There's not a single person in our room that doesn't use it. And then we came up with another clock, just part of Microsoft's tools. You can add a second clock to your system if you want to. And that's a big plus because there's a lot of times you're going to have more than one trade going on, and you might want to have a clock on another chart because we're doing everything by time. That is the key. Everything we do is based around time. So you want these free tools. So this clock is called Topmost Clock. We make it available to all of our members. And in fact, let me see if I have it super handy. If I have it super handy, I'll throw it in the chat. But these tools, they're free, they're simple, and anybody could use them. And then the other very important tool that we use is it's not even a tool, it's just the knowledge of going to the website time.is. A lot of times you'll go to a website and maybe or before you trade, we tell people to check their computer, check the sync, right? Make sure that your computer is in sync. Because if you take a trade and your computer is not in sync, you could have a losing trade when everybody else in the room might have a winning trade because they made sure that they put their computer in sync. So we go to the website time.is. Simply go to the website right now, time.is, and see what happens. It checks your computer to see if you're in sync. If you're not in sync, we have tools that we give you free, a little program, and you can just run that program and it'll put your computer in sync. But all of these support tools we give our members, and it's all part of being in the community. So here you could see I went to time.is and it checked my computer to see if it's in sync. There are times when sometimes maybe your battery is having an issue. Maybe you're 5 seconds slower off of what the time should be. 5 seconds is enough to ruin a trade. A nanosecond sometimes could be enough to ruin a trade. So it's very important to have the correct collection of tools so that if you're trading the way that we trade, you're giving yourself all the advantages of being able to trade to win, not to trade and scramble around and looking for ways to solve problems while you're trading. We want you to be set up to trade right away the minute you get going, so you can not worry about the tools, have them handy, and then get going and use the tools while you're trading. So the clock is very important. Syncing your computer is important. We give all of our members a pre-trade checklist. You can download our pre-trade checklist in our trade room. It's a list that reminds everyone what to do before you take a trade. All these little things, all these tools are part of our community, and they're part of the reasons why we want you to join and become a part of our community, because we feel obviously very strongly that our community helps you to become a better trader. So let's talk about a couple of quick things just because they're so critical to everything we do. And everything we do is part of one complete system. So besides our magnet trades, it's important to realize all the other setups we have that are vitally important. Obviously, everybody knows that we're always taking a breakout trade. We're often taking breakout trades on earnings, okay? So one of our new earnings trades has been a company called Palantir. And this was a phenomenal winning trade. You could see it. But a breakout trade, just so you know, is very simply we're putting an order above the current price. We're putting an order below the current price. The news comes out, and then we get pulled into the market, and we have an exploding winner in this case on Palantir earnings. That's a breakout trade. The breakout trade is part of our news trader strategy. So remember, we have three strategies: news trader, trap trade, and the magnet trade. As part of the news trader, you get the breakout, you get range trades, and you get reverse continuation trades. Range trades we've gone over. Range trades we use very, very often to trade earnings. We also use range trades to trade oil, the oil open that we've been trading. So that's a popular trade that we use. So what is a range trade? Let me show you. Let me see if I could find a quick oil, just to give you an idea what the range trade looks like. I'm not even necessarily pulling a winner. I just want to show you what a range trade looks like, just to make sure everybody understands. So when we trade the oil trade in the morning, which we are still trading it seems to be working at times. It creates a range, and a range trade is very simple. It just puts 4 lines on the chart. The inner lines, the 2 inner lines, are the actual range itself, and the range is being created by time. So in other words, if you want to create a range between 9 and 9:15 in the morning, our software lets you type those 2 times in, and it creates the range. And then it puts another line above the range and another line below the range. That is where your orders are going to be. So you can see here we were trading oil. Oil was moving around before the event took place, before the open, before our orders actually were put on the chart. The range was growing in size, and that happens. Then our orders get placed on the chart right before we get filled. So what will happen is the range will stop calculating and the X's will go on the chart. Then when the market opens or when the index moves, it'll go in a certain direction, obviously, and we get our fill. That's the concept of a range trade. The range trade is part of the news trader software. And then reverse continuations. I showed you yesterday how powerful reversal continuation trades are. I put them on every single chart. When I trade a magnet trade, along with the magnet setup, I'm putting on the chart a reverse continuation trade. Why? Because I want the opportunity, if the market gives it to me, to be able to enter a trade before or after the magnet has taken place. I don't like to call it a scalp trade. I like to call it an intelligent scalp trade, because it always has a stop, it always has a target. It's not just a random trade that I'm throwing on a chart. It's an intelligent reversal or a continuation. It takes 1 minute to put it on a chart, and because it's so important, we made it a part of the Magnet 2.0. Now Magnet 2.0 has built into it the whole reversal continuation setup. So when you add a magnet strategy to your chart, you have the ability to do a high of day, low of day magnet, custom level, which we're going to go over today, standalone signals, and off. And the funny thing about off is off really means on. And I'll tell you what I mean when I say that. But first off, when we're trading the magnet, you have the ability, and it's so simple to do. There's a section called reverse continue. When you put a reverse continue trade on a chart, all you need to know is how many positions, how many contracts at that position, what's your stop, what's your target. That's all you need for a reverse continuation trade. Can you do more with a reverse continue? Yes. You can trail your stops. You can move your stop if the market hits a certain number of ticks. You could move your stop automatically if your first target gets hit. So there's all sorts of things you can do within the reversal continuation, but for the trade, a simple setup, all that you need is a position, a stop, and a target. And turn on the trade, and then the trade is available. So inside the magnet trade, we have a full-blown reverse continuation setup. When you turn on the magnet, you get the magnet control panel. And sometimes the clock is in the way, so you move it. We've got our control panel, and if you notice, reverse continue long, reverse continue short. I can enter my reverse continue trade, long or short. And then inside the magnet, right, inside the strategy, you had the ability to manage the trade. When you were entering the data, you put in what's your target. If I want a 40 tick target, I've got a 40 tick target. If I want a 40 tick stop, I've got a 40 tick stop. If I want 2 positions or up to 3 positions, I just put the number of contracts in. So with the magnet strategy by itself, you have the ability to do reverse continuations, which we thought was very important to make that a part of the magnet strategy. And the way that you call it up, when you turn on the magnet, you can just press reverse continue long, reverse continue short, and it puts you in the trade. Here's the thing to realize about the magnet strategy. It's a strategy that you might want to keep on all the time. If you keep it on your chart, if it's one of the setups that's on your chart most of the time you're trading, for one, you can see the signals that it generates. Look at this beautiful signal that got generated a little while ago. Right as we started the webinar, Microgold was making another new high today. It's been making new highs quite a bit today. It made new highs. The first signal would have been a winning signal, because if you look at what happened on this signal, you would have entered somewhere in this area. Your stop would have been about 70 ticks away from this signal. Now, some people would say that's too many ticks. I would say that if you're in a market that's making new high after new high after new high, and you're going to trade that market, you got to be willing to use big stops. Also, you got to be willing to take a loser and then take another trade very soon after. Because let's say you lost. Let's say that you took this trade and 70 ticks is too big of a stop, and you lost 30 ticks. That you used the 30 tick stop and you lost $300 on that trade. Now, first off, this is Microgold, so you wouldn't have lost $300. You might have lost 50. Having a 70 tick stop with Microgold is nothing. It's $70. So if you want to learn to trade magnets with very low risk, practice on Microgold. It's a great instrument to trade. But here's the point. Even if you got yourself stopped out of that trade, the next signal, look at the possible number of ticks that we're winning. And again, when I calculate a trade, I do it not at the biggest, at the place where you get the most ticks. I am not a cheater, okay? I'm trying to be really transparent. 109 ticks were easily available in this signal. That's not necessarily over yet. It looks like it might be over, but 109 ticks were available with this particular signal. Now, I was saying before that we do have filters that are part of the software. And I'm not going to get into the filters very heavily at all today, because they're going to be covered when we do our master class on Magnet 2.0, which if it's not next week, it'll be the week after. It's going to be very soon because we are releasing the software later today. Our filters are part of the strategy, and it's interesting, we actually use AI to help us with these filters. I did some research, I sent it to our programmer, he loved the idea, and he programmed in what AI taught us. So it was very interesting. The filters, like I said, are part of the magnet strategy. Let me find them. And they're called ARS filters. We have a stall filter, a pullback filter. There's actually 5 elements of filtering. And we also have a manual, which I don't think we've ever had a manual on our software before, but we've generated a really nice manual for the magnet trade also, and there is a section on using the filters. I don't want to spend half an hour just on people understanding filters, okay? It's just not a good use of our time. But it is one of the things that's part of the system. We have a way that when a market is making new high after new high after new high, you want to try and filter some of the signals, because sometimes you want to avoid, obviously, taking bad signals. But it's also very important to understand what might create a signal. So if a situation is not perfect, like right here on this right chart, signals were not generated, but it's a perfect scenario for a short signal. We just didn't get close enough to the high. Our specification requires a certain distance from the high in order to get the signal. So understanding, though, what creates the signal would show you why this area here was a fantastic place to take a short. Better than here, easier than here to see, much easier to see the short here. But understanding what creates the short signal is very important. And of course, we will go over part of that in the masterclass that we're going to take. Now, someone said they cannot see slides. Lewis, you can see the slides, right? I would hope. Okay. So you can see my screens, right? Everybody? Hold on, because I'm not showing slides. Let me make sure that... Hang on, I apologize. Okay, so my apologies. You can see this signal here now, right? I'm very sorry. Okay, my mistake. So let me back up. What I was talking about were the filters and what generates the filters and what you need to do to be able to see them. All right, so our software generates these filters, these signals, and inside the software are these filters. The filters allow us to control whether or not you're going to get all the signals. So that's very important. And we have 5 elements of filters, ARS filters. We have a structural stall filter, a pullback filter, 2 pullback filters, a lock filter, a retrace filter, and we have documentation on how those filters are going to work, okay? So signals and understanding how those signals are going to be taken and why or why not they shouldn't be taken will be much clearer when you understand A, what filtering is all about, B, it's very important to understand what creates the signals. This particular chart, I was saying, doesn't meet our criteria for creating a signal. It's very close to the high, but it's not 3 ticks away from the high. So the signal was not created, but it was a valid place for a signal to be created should the signal be generated if we were a little bit further from the high. In other words, if our specification says 3 ticks, but it generates a signal 8 ticks, if you understand why 3 ticks would have created the signal, you'll understand why this is a valid signal even though it was 8 ticks. The market is moving down. The squeeze has changed momentum. All of the candles are the same color. There were many reasons that fit our specification for generating a signal, and this fit it, even though it was missing one of the points of making the signal itself, and that's the number of ticks away from the high or the low. Now, sometimes you can control in the software, hang on a second, there's a command in the software that lets us control the number of bars. Now, sometimes it's not just as simple as the number of bars, but let me just try something here today. There's a lot of different things that actually make up our filters and our signals. One of the things is proximity ticks. If proximity ticks is 10, now hang on, because I want to make sure I'm in the right place. Hold on, my mistake. I have to be on the right magnet. Let me put it on the right magnet. So I'm on my left chart. Proximity ticks. Give me a second. What I'm doing is, so I want to be further away from the high or from the low, and then I should be able to get a signal. So let's see if I can get it. If not, then there's another reason why that signal might not be generating. And the reason is because there's not just number of ticks that's generating a signal. It's not just the proximity. So there are other reasons why a signal might not get generated. But there are different commands in the software that control whether signals are generated. Another thing that we can do inside the software. Hang on, I just want to try one more thing before we're done, before I go on to something else, because I really didn't even start the class yet. I really just got a little bit sidetracked. So give me a second here to show you a couple of different things inside the software. First of all, a lot of people don't know, if you have a strategy that's enabled and you're working, you open the software and everything is grayed out, you can just go to the enabled button and click apply, and it will give you the ability to edit all of your items again, okay? If you can't edit your items, it's almost always because your software is enabled, okay? So that's very important to realize. Inside, you have 5 different filter levels. You have whether or not you're going to generate signals from the high of day or the low of day, whether we're going to generate signals from the VWAP. All right. You have the momentum length of the squeeze, which should always be 17, and the squeeze length should always be 20. And we'll get into these again at the master class. Okay. It's going to be in the class that will go into much deeper, more significant filtering and all of the deeper levels of the software. What I'm going to get into today is more targeting, how we're targeting the different levels, and how we are also using some of the new features in the software. So let me just go back to the slides so I go in the proper order. Let me make sure if there's something that you think I didn't explain because you weren't seeing the charts, just tell me what you want me to say over and I'll cover it over again. But otherwise, I'm going to go back into my slides. Let's do that. And bear with me. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of this. So let me just show you from scratch when you start in the morning what you have to do if you want to put a magnet trade on the chart. So in the morning we do a couple of things. We get into the room, we start from scratch, and the new magnet, just so you know, we no longer have to spend time teaching you how to set up your charts. I will show you everything that's on the chart though, because it's important. So what's on the chart that makes it so that the magnets work for us? So you go right click your chart, click on indicators, and the indicators that we use that have to be on your magnet charts, or should be on your magnet charts for the software to work at its optimum. Current day OHL, pivots, TTMS, volume up down, net change display, VWAP, either the order flow VWAP or the VWAP that we include. But we no longer have to teach you how to put all of these things on your chart. If you want to know, it only takes a second, and almost all of them. I'll show you the VWAP because that's the only one that really needs some configuration. If you right click your chart, go to indicators. If you're a Lifetime Ninja Trader member, all right, I'm going to remove my VWAP. If you're a Lifetime Ninja Trader subscriber, you can just go to Order Flow VWAP, double click it, and then we're just turning. First off, you can control the line thickness by going to the plot and changing the thickness, the width of the line, say to a 2. Okay, so that's one thing that I do. You can make the line thicker, and then standard deviation bands, we'd make it none. That makes sure that we're not seeing zones, all sorts of extraneous things on the chart. But for the VWAP, we're just getting a thick line. If you need it thicker, you just go to the plot. You can make it thicker. If you're not a Lifetime Ninja Trader subscriber, like I said, we are including a file, a template file that you'll install onto your chart. It takes about 1 second to set it up. You would go to New, you would go to Chart, you get a new chart, let's say whatever instrument you want to use, let's say we're going to use gold. The big important things for us, days to load, I don't want to load more than 3 days of data, and my trading hours absolutely should be use instrument settings, okay? Very important. Trading hours should be use instrument settings. Okay, now I have a new chart. It has nothing on it, nothing at all. The only thing you have to worry about really is this icon. Put your chart trader on the chart, okay? You know what chart trader looks like. This is the chart trader. Then just right click your chart, click the template, load our template. I'll show you where to put it. It's called Magnet 2.0. And it loads. Now, obviously, everything isn't going to be 100% configured. You might have to shrink down your indicators a little bit, but it takes literally a few seconds. Shrink your charts to the right. Now, if you notice, my charts look almost exactly the same. It took, what, 10 seconds to load that template. So where does the template go? You just go to your document folder, all right? You go to your document folder inside your computer, documents, Ninja Trader 8, templates, chart, and you put our file in this folder, and that way it will be available to your Ninja Trader. So any chart, you can just right click on the word templates, load Magnet 2.0, and you're in business. No more spending, 20 minutes setting up extra charts. You don't have to do it. Our template is pre-configured. It's always a good idea to check the squeeze in particular. What I like to do is shrink down a little bit. I don't need to take a ton of space with volume. I like a little bit more room with the squeeze so I can see the momentum very well. But the only thing I double check is under indicators. I go to the squeeze and I just make sure that the momentum length is 17 and my squeeze length is 20. Okay? That's critical. It's important, or you could get incorrect signals. All right? That's important, so you don't get incorrect signals. Now, I don't need this particular chart because I have a million charts that show how to load the software and how to configure. So everybody clear, real easy now to set up your charts so they look exactly like ours. Why do you want them to look exactly like ours? Because the definition of what magnets are price levels. We're trading out of those price levels. When we get to the magnet, our trade is ending. Okay, so that's the key. That is the key. I can't believe they're making noise again next door. It's unbelievable. Can you guys hear that noise? Because I might be able to change my headset and it won't create as much noise. If you can hear it, let me know. All right, second thing. Okay, good. Nobody hears it, so I'll just ignore it. Let me go to my slides. Bear with me here. I want to make sure I cover everything I wanted to cover. Okay, so you understand how to install a template. Everybody understands what a magnet is. Is there anybody at all who doesn't understand what a magnet is? Do you need any more info on what a magnet is? It's a level that we're exiting our trade at. High of day, low of day, pivots, S1, S3, the VWAP. Those are our magnets. Those are the areas where we are exiting our trade. So look, we took a trade in the trade room this morning. And here's the trade again. We took another magnet trade this morning. Today is February 20th. You know I'm telling you the truth. We had a YM magnet trade. It was before the open. It was 9:15. We saw that the YM had started selling off again. It was going long. We had a signal to go long, a bunch of signals to go long. It started selling off again, and we decided to put our magnet on early. All right. So we put the magnet on, we got filled, and then we just waited. Remember, my exit is the low of the day. I'm in the trade before the low of the day. And we were just working on other things. We were setting up our MNQ trade. I didn't even have to do anything. I just let the YM do its thing and the trade was over. It hit the low. It even went further. We could have used a bigger target this morning on our YM magnet because it went further than the magnet. Another winning magnet. We use them every morning. And that is the most simple magnet that we trade. A high of day, low of day, okay? That's my personal favorite magnet to trade. High of day, low of day. They're also my favorite signals. I love the high of day, low of day signals. They work the best, in my opinion. They give the best signals. The second best signals are the signals off the VWAP. All right? Does everybody understand? When I say signals, what I mean is this. So this morning, let me put on the video from this morning because there was some very interesting things that took place. So this was a video of this morning's trade room. We had a lot of trades. We had the ADP, we had the GDP, we had the oil open. And during all of those trades, sometimes we're trading magnets, sometimes we're trading breakouts, but we're always watching signals. After our YM magnet, this was actually before we took that YM magnet I showed you, we started getting long signals on the YM. It had sold off quite a bit, and we started getting long signals, and some of our members were actually taking longs on the YM. Then it started to sell off again. We turned the magnet automatic by pressing the magnet button. That turns the software into automatic mode so that the trade that we had set up will trigger on its own. I did not have to watch it or do anything. It would fill automatically when it goes through our red line, okay? That's when it would trigger. That's exactly what it did. But what was interesting is after the YM, we were trading other instruments. We were trading the MNQ. And here the MNQ did some very interesting things. It made a new low, all right? And I said to people in the room, I would bet anything that if I put the magnet software on the MNQ, you got a great signal to go long after the open. So let me show you on the MNQ. This is the MNQ chart right here. I'm going to simply put a magnet strategy on this chart. Right click the chart, double click magnet. By the way, look at gold. It's making a magnet as we're speaking. It's doing a magnet trade. Putting on a high of day, low of day. Not even going to do anything else. I'm just going to look for signals. Turn the software on, and I'm going to go back to 9:30. And the reason I said before that off is on. If you turn on a high of day, low of day trade, a couple of things happen. When you enable a magnet trade, high of day, low of day, you have four choices: custom level, standalone, or off. When you do high of day, low of day, it generates your order line so that you know where you're going to get filled if the price goes to this line. This movable line is your order line. And it's high of day, low of day. So it's at the high and it's at the low. The software triggers wherever you move this line, okay? You can see in the box what that trigger price is also, okay? All right. You see your order on top, target and buy, and you see it at the bottom. But what I wanted to show you is if I go to 9:30, I'm willing to bet that we're going to see a long signal. But also, I don't want these orders to be on the chart if I'm just doing research and stuff. So I can, on the control panel, turn off the high of day, low of day. But the reason off is on is because my signals still generate. So if I go to 9:30, exactly what I was thinking should happen, and we should start to generate some buy signals. And it was actually a perfect buy signal after the market went down after the open. Remember, the candle that you would buy at would not be the signals candle, it would be the candle after, assuming you entered in the worst possible place on this signal. And ironically, the MNQ went from low to high. which happens more than you would think, almost all the way. But you had here quite the signal, and I'm not even taking it from the best place. I never do. 842 possible ticks of profit in that signal. It was an amazing signal. I would not have even considered taking the signal before it. Why? We were just a few minutes before the open. That to me is not a valid signal. I would not have taken it. This was a valid signal. The market opened, candles changed color, the squeeze was changing momentum, volume was high because the market was open. It was a perfect signal, and it did work beautifully. It generated. So signals are actually on even though it says off. What's off is the high of day, low of day orders. So that's very important to know, so that if you're doing research or you're waiting for signals, you don't have to leave those orders on. When a trade finishes, when a high of day, low of day trade is over, the software automatically goes into the off mode, so it doesn't leave the orders on the chart. Okay, so that's nice to know. How do you put the magnet in auto mode? So that's important, and that's the same in all the magnet versions. When you set up a magnet, obviously you have your setup, you have your targets, etc. It won't trigger a trade unless it's automatically in auto mode. So you press the magnet entry button, and that turns the magnet software into auto mode. Okay? Otherwise, what'll happen is, if it gets to a point where it should trigger, you'll get the purple box blinking, and there will be an audio alert telling you, press the box if you want to enter the trade. And that's something that works in high of day, low of day mode. Okay? Now let's talk about targeting. All right? I want to talk about targeting because it's a big change that we've made to the new version. First off, in the previous version, all that we supported really was high of day, low of day, and custom level. And in the new version, when you turn on your magnet strategy, when you program it, you've got now 4 different things. You've got high of day, low of day, which is pretty much as it says, you're trading to exit at the high or exit at the low. Custom level. Custom level means you can type in any number. So if there's an indicator that you like to look at, or there's any level on the price that you want it to be your magnet, when you type in custom level, the number, the value, what'll happen is you'll get a line on the chart at that level when you turn on the magnet. So I typed in that level. Now, this is your entry, your order line, okay? So if you want the number you typed in, the level you typed in, to be your magnet, no problem. Don't forget to move your order line somewhere so that you get filled before you get to that level. And then you want to tell the software what direction you want to take the trade. If you want it to be a long trade, make sure that long is green and short is off. Okay? So any level can be a custom level. Any indicator that you like could create a level that you use as a custom level. In Magnet 1.0, the custom level was much more popular because we didn't support the targeting that we now support in the current product. So let me show you what I mean when I say that. We're targeting a ton more things automatically. And it's important to understand why you almost don't even have to worry anymore about custom level. So again, when you start the magnet, when you're doing a high of day, no problem. Or if you're doing custom level, no problem. When you enable the trade, you apply it and you okay it down at the bottom, and then you turn the trade on. So maybe I've decided I don't want to trade the high of day. All right, price is too far away. I want to do something else. Maybe I want to trade the PP, that level. I want to take that trade. So I can go to the HOD, LOD, turn on custom level, and now I can target any one of these areas. I could target the VWAP, the day open, which is that line. I can target the PP. And if I target the PP, just like when I target the regular magnet, the high of day, low of day, the default target can be 3 ticks away. In other words, when I target any of our custom targets, our default, and let me show you what I mean, our default setup inside the strategy, target 1 is targeting -3. Anything that we target, whether it's the PP, or if I target the VWAP, or if I target the high of day, low of day, my first default target is 3 ticks away from the magnet. Any other target is up to you. However, you could also change that by just changing the number of ticks. If you make it -5, it'll take you out of the trade 5 ticks before you get to the magnet. If you make it 10 ticks, it'll get you out of the trade 10 ticks after it goes through the magnet. So all the targets are editable, but we wanted to make it simple to target different levels. So when you target automatically a level, so if I turn on the magnet and I decide to target S1, which is down here, for instance, I just choose S1 and it will automatically take me out of that S1 trade 3 ticks before I get there. And then position 2 is whatever I target it at. Also, you do have the ability, instead of using our built-in targeting, to just target ticks. So that you could have a target 5 ticks from where you are, 10 ticks from where you are, so that you could just use a different area away from your current price to get an exit. I like to target, like if I'm trading the PP, if I'm targeting the PP, I like to use the built-in -3 ticks, and it just takes me out of the trade 3 ticks before I get to the PP. Like for instance, in this situation, maybe if I'm trading the high of day, low of day, I would turn off custom level, choose high of day, low of day. I always have the ability to choose my entry, right? With any level, don't forget, you're going to have an order line to put your entry. It's very important. So when I choose a high of day, I actually have 2 order lines, high of day and low of day. If I'm targeting a custom level and I'm targeting, for instance, the VWAP, I've only got 1 order line because the VWAP is only a VWAP. It's not a high VWAP and a low VWAP. It's just the VWAP. So I could enter above the VWAP or I could enter below the VWAP. In that case, when you're targeting VWAP, You just have to make sure you remember, let the software know if you're short or long, okay? So it triggers at the right place. But all of those, instead of having to set up and type in a level, you don't have to do that anymore. It's all automated. You can target any of these levels. The VWAP, the PP, R1, R3, S1, S3, or the previous open. That's what the orange line is. And of course, any of those can be automatic trades as well. All right. So that was a very, very big change that we made to the new magnet, the expanded control panel. Expanded control panel is a big deal. So you have the ability to enter reverse continuation long, reverse continuation short, which is a completely separate setup from the magnet, and or you can enter any custom level. You can target any of those levels. All right. Also, when you put on a magnet trade, you have the ability to enter the trade before the magnet gets hit by just pressing the ARS Enter Now button. It's sort of like the range trade, take a range trade early button. You can enter early. All right. Another way to enter early, you could just bring your order down also, right? Bring your order down. If you get a blink, it's going to put your trade on, okay? Just make sure you have a good setup, right? Make sure you have a good setup. There's a lot of different ways to enter. There's a lot of different ways to exit. I always like simple. I tend to trade about 80% high of day, low of day, and the rest mostly VWAP and only occasional other magnets. There's enough trades with high of day, low of day, and VWAP to keep anyone busy, okay? All right, let me see what else I got to cover today. Let me just make sure I have. So we've got new targeting. Anybody have any questions about the custom level? Does everybody understand? Everybody understand what I'm, anything that you don't understand? Arthur, I don't understand your question. I'm sorry. Can I trade long from the middle to, I don't understand your question. It's just not clear. I'm sorry. If you could try typing it in slightly differently, I don't understand it. So you can exit a trade anywhere you want because you can always move your orders, Arthur. So any trade that's on the chart, you can always move your orders. You can put your entry anywhere. So if I'm trading a high of day, right? As long as I have high of day on the chart, I can enter anywhere I want. I can even enter above the R2. If I don't even want to fool around with the targeting, I could just move my order line and enter above the R2. If you're going to do things like that, you have to remember that your target is going to be based on the high of day, low of day. So we did one other very clever thing. Sometimes when you're taking a trade, right, particularly a high of day, low of day trade, sometimes there's another level in between that area. And we wanted to give people the ability to take the exit of that level. So look at what happens here. You have the ability to trade the magnet exit, the low of day, or another magnet, the S1. Sometimes they're too close to each other, and you want to make sure the software knows which one you're exiting, which target you want. So if you want the S1, that is the nearer target. Okay, so you just check nearer and it will use the S1 as the target. Otherwise, it'll ignore the S1 and you can put your order entry above the S1 and not worry that the S1 is going to interfere with your trade because it is a magnet and it'll trigger the low of day, the proper exit. But you can also use the S1 as an extra trade or an earlier trade. In this case, when you click the little nearer target, it'll exit S1 instead of the low of day. That's just an extra feature, an extra way to trade if there happen to be magnets in between magnets. Okay? Now don't ask me what would happen if there's 5 magnets in between. There wouldn't be, but anyway, that was another thing that we tried to think of. We tried to think of as many possible things as we could. And look, nothing is 100% perfect. Everything has things that come up that you just can't figure out until you trade them over and over. All right, so again, big features to 2.0, filtering, and the control panel. Targeting is really the big thing. And then, of course, signals. Let me talk a little bit about the signals. Signals work off the VWAP. This is the VWAP. We're seeing signals here. When the VWAP gets tested, when price pulls back and momentum changes, it can generate a signal. So there are often signals around the VWAP. The VWAP to us is very important, and the VWAP, you can turn off VWAP signals. If you don't want to watch them, aftershock VWAP signals can just be turned off. Then when the magnet's on, you're just not going to get those signals, all right? You'll still get your high of day, low of day signals, but that's a way to control the amount of signals that you're seeing on your chart. Remember, the signal is created when the candle closes. So you're not going to trade the signal candle. You're going to trade possibly the candle after. All right. The other thing you can do, just very simply, if you don't like the color of the signals, you can change the colors. That's just, typical ninja stuff. You want red signals on the buy. If you want your sell signals a color that you like, obviously that's easy enough to do. That's programmed in as well. Whatever you want your signals to be, the colors are there. All right, simple stuff like that. Sell, I'm not going to get into color. So that's the major new features that are in 2.0. Now, besides, let me talk about another thing about signals. So we've got high of day, low of day signals. We've got off signals. So what does off signals mean again? So let's say you take a trade. Let's say you don't take a trade. You don't want to take a trade. You just want to look at signals. What signals are you going to look at if it's off? You can look at high of day, low of day if you check it, and you can look at VWAP signals. Okay? If you have it set to ARS standalone, then there's going to be tons of signals because the software is going to generate signals when there's pullbacks and momentum changes. So one of the ways you can create less signals is by filtering those signals. And one of the ways we can filter those signals is by demanding more bars to be created when it generates the signals. Notice I hardly have any signals now because I asked it to use 3 bars in a row instead of just 1 bar of momentum to create a signal. So that's a great way to filter signals. Let me show you where that is. Magnet strategy. And I don't know where everything is half the time. There's so many choices. You just got to scroll through. Trending bars, instead of being 1, I made it a 3. It gave me less signals. 2 is nice because it's nice to require. 2 is almost a trend, right? 2 is almost a trend. 3 is pretty solid. 3 is going to give you some good signals, and they're just standalone. When the squeeze is generating momentum, when momentum changes, signals will be generated. If I was going to say where the best signals are coming from, high of day, low of day signals are my favorite. VWAP second. Standalone require a little bit more work to filter them, more discretion, okay? Obviously, if you're in a market that's generating dozens of signals, up and down, up and down, up and down, what does that tell you? That tells you that you're in a market that probably isn't trending. And do you want to trade signals in a trending or in a non-trending market? Probably not. You want to do your trading in markets, especially this type of trading, magnets and signals, in a market that's trending. Okay? So that's very, very important. When downloading the new software, you should always remove old software. Always reboot your system when you restart the system also. Always reboot when you restart the system. After you install your new software, reboot. So if you want to see how to do it, it's so simple to install the software. Let's say you have the software installed. Go to Tools, go to Remove NinjaScript. It'll take a second or two, and you'll get a dialog. Remove the magnet. All right, remove it. It gives you all these crazy warnings. Do you want to do it? Yes. And remove it, and it'll tell you successfully removed. Close it, and then go to Tools. Import NinjaScript add-on. It's number 13 is the level that we're at. Version 13, point 13 is all you need to know. Double click it, okay it. It takes about a second or two, 5 seconds. Successfully imported. Then I just turn off my Ninja and turn it back on again. And the software is loaded. Okay, that to me is the way that I would install new software. Okay, after it's installed, you should always restart your NinjaTrader. All right. Any other questions on that? I have other things I want to cover for everybody. So we covered all the important things, I believe. Don't forget. One thing you want to remember, if you need any information, you can reach us, help@10minutetrades.com. That's very important. We can easily be reached there all the time, okay? So I want to also make everybody an offer and just go through it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time selling. I don't really enjoy selling that much. But we have a fantastic offer, and I want to put the right slide deck on, so I make you the right offer. So let me just put it on. Give me half a second. We want to make an offer for everybody, and I might do something crazy that my boss is going to kill me for, but I'm tempted to do it. So let me run through our offer. I love AI. It's crazy. I did this with AI in about 1 minute. It's awesome. Software is the key, obviously. Software and our trade room. In our trade room, we're always going over with everybody how and why to take trades. We are helping you in the room. If you're getting a signal and you're not sure if you should take it, we're helping in the room whether or not we should take it. Okay, we went over how to win the challenge. If you care and you want to win the challenge, I've posted the link. Send us, make us a video, what you liked about the challenge. That's it, all right? I don't want to get into it any more than we've already done it. It's simple enough. Make us a video, what you liked about the challenge, and you'll have an opportunity to win the challenge. We're going to announce the winners in an email Monday. Watch the videos, okay? What we're doing here for us, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You know, we have members that make thousands of dollars trading with us. Members have been making money with us for 8 years, all right? We're not making this up. We wouldn't be here for 8 years if people weren't able to make money. They just wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. And we have something we want to offer to you today. My goal is to get you to invest in yourself, believe in yourself, and to believe in me, because I'm going to help you in the trade room. If you can create income on a predictable schedule, you'll have this skill for the rest of your life. There will always be news. There's always going to be markets that react to the news. And if you know how to trade the news, you'll have an edge over all the other traders out there. So if you hate wasting time sitting in front of your computer all day long, this is the place you want to be. And this is the way you want to trade. And I want to make you an offer so you can trade the way that we trade. All right? Why should you even listen to me? I've been teaching people to trade for more than 8 years. I can show you thousands of screenshots of people making money in our trade room every day, every single day. All right, let me show you a couple of screenshots. First, I want to show you something really fascinating that happened today. And I want to show you why it's about the whole system. It's not just about only trading magnets. There's more to life, believe it or not, than magnets. Yes, this has been a magnet educational seminar, webinar, challenge, whatever you want to call it. It's been magnet focused. But things happen while you're trading magnets that if you're using all of our strategies, you have the ability to take advantage of all of the opportunities. This morning, we were trading more than one setup. We were trading flash manufacturing, and after flash manufacturing, we were trading Revise University of Michigan. We were trading trap trades with gold. And I just want to show you these trades because the opportunities were there. I trade gold all the time, and I trade trap trades all the time. And I know that sometimes you need to make your stop bigger. Gold was creating magnets. It was going high after high after high, right? High after high after high. I knew that if we got filled on this trade, there was going to be a great opportunity for a reversal. Remember, what is our trap trade? It's a trade that if the market goes up like it just did, it fills us short. If it keeps going up, it's going to stop me out of the trade, okay? If it keeps going up. Now, I expanded my stop because we were making new highs. I wanted to outlast gold. It was going to get exhausted, and it was going to start retracing. It's almost a guarantee. It's not a guarantee you could survive, but it's almost a guarantee it will change direction because it had been making new highs even before the news. So the odds of this working were extremely good. And exactly what we thought happened. It went up, we got filled, and eventually after a few minutes, we were able to get out of this trade with a couple of $100 profit. I started out in this account getting stopped out on advanced GDP this morning. And I said before I left this morning that I was going to work on that one prop account all morning and get it positive before the day ended. And I was now about $300 on my way. I was still down 5 or 6 because I had a pretty big stop on the GDP trade. When we trade a trap trade, we teach our members why we're using the tiers we do, why we use the size orders we use. We look at every trade, sometimes 2 years past, and we see how they spiked. And we knew that this particular next trade that we were going to take, our tiers should be set in a certain value. And we set them 40 and 65. We actually went 50 and 75 because the market was pretty volatile. Now remember, I'm down about 500 or 600 now. I was down about 8 on a bad trade. I'm waiting for Revise University of Michigan for the news to come out. I know gold again, new high, new high, new high. But I prefer to get filled long because for all I know, gold could go another 20 or 30 ticks to the upside before it changes direction. So I want the market to go short on the news and fill me long. That's my goal. My wish. That's my wish. And that's exactly what happened. The market went down on the news. I got filled long. Now, I knew almost 100% that this trade was going to be profitable. What I did not know was how profitable it might be. I did not know that that trade would give me $1,100 in profit because it would burst back to the high. Did we get caught in the tariff announcement by the Supreme Court? Maybe. But doesn't matter. We were in the trade in the direction we wanted to be in, and we made over $1,100 on that trap trade. I finished over 300 profit in that account when I was negative. So who is this guy? Why should you listen to me? Why does anything I say have any meaning? Because I've been doing this for 8 years, and I may not be the world's greatest trader. I may make trading mistakes, because I do. Everybody does. But I know how to teach you to do this type of trading. And I know how to look at gold, and I know how to look at these levels, and I know how to look at these signals so that I could teach you to become an excellent trader. And I've been doing it for so long. Why do I trade the news? I want my time. I love hanging around with my family. And news trading gives us the flexibility to not spend all day long sitting in front of charts. And it's simple and it's easy to understand. Once I realized that I could trade news, I knew that the less I traded also, the more money I could make. Most trading is really boring. You sit around for hours. With trading the news, we make a schedule. We come into the trade room. We trade on a schedule. And that's that. When the schedule is done, we're finished. And you go on with your life. That is the way to trade. Can you imagine what it's like to make $3,900 on one trade? Or let's say $2,000, which happened to us the other day on an earnings trade. $1,000 is common on some of the trades that we trade. The gold reversal trade on micros that I made the other day was almost a $400 trade. I showed you that trade in the room here. Here it is. Why should you listen to me? Why do I have something to offer? I knew that gold was going to go and test this low. It was a magnet, right? And it was price was consolidating. It did exactly what I thought it was going to do. 2 micro contracts almost $400 on that trade. I know what I'm talking about. Wouldn't you like to spend a couple of hours or 4 to 6 hours a week instead of 30 hours a week looking at charts? That's what we're offering. All right. I could show you 1,000 winning trades right now. I showed you those trap trades. I've showed you winning magnet trades. If you've looked at our emails, you've seen magnet trade after magnet trade winning. These trades really work. It's not something we're making up. This is a YM magnet we took this week. Bingo, another winning YM magnet trade. The signals are a bonus. The signals are version 1. Our signals are going to get better and better and better. It's my favorite part of everything is signals, but understand they're going to get better. It's just the beginning. We take news trading seriously. We believe that fast-moving news trades are safer than most other trades because you have the right training, you have the right software, and you have the right risk. The trades are over fast. You can schedule your trades like clockwork, and we know when the market's going to move. So if you're time for a change, if the way that you're trading now is too complicated or it's not working for you, you should start looking at magnet trading right now, breakout, spike trading, trap trading, range trading, and it can be discretionary or automated. We do it all. We do discretionary or automated. If you want only automated, you could do your magnets all automated. How would your life change if you could make more in just a few hours than most people make all week? And that is the truth. Wouldn't you like to change your life? I'm going to work with you directly in the trade room. I am going to help you put this into action. I'm going to teach you how to enter everything into the software. All right? It's not free, but here's what we're going to offer. Lifetime access. All of these bonuses are included. Lifetime access to the News Trader software. Trap trade, breakout trades, trap trades, reverse continue, our regular strategy plus the trap trade strategy included. Lifetime News Trader, lifetime magnet. Magnet Trading Masterclass, and you can be part of the on-demand new masterclass. When we do it, we're going to do it in a webinar. Everybody can come to the class. It will be a lot of fun. Class version 2 will be out 2 weeks. Everyone gets it. Bonus 4, you get our 10-minute trades quick start. All of those items are worth easily over $5,000. Bonus number 5, 6 months in our trade room. Bonus number 6, 6 months of daily market movers. If you don't know what the daily market movers are, there are trade reports. I'd say about 60% of our trades get daily market mover reports. Those are our trade reports where we show how we're going to trade a specific event in our room. Members that traded our trap trade this morning on the European French flash services made money. We recommended. Trap trade might offer slightly better opportunities this month. If you were going to trade the report, we did call the best way to trade it. All right. These are our DMM reports. They help you to understand the event we're trading and what our setup is. And those numbers just get typed into our software. It's not that complicated. Bonus number 7, any of our family money trades. Any of the trade rooms where we go over our family money trades, all those workshops are included. All of our earnings trades and workshops are included. Everything that we're offering has a value of over $16,000. And you have the availability of our membership area as well. Okay? If all you could do If the worst that you did was generate $1,000 of income a month, extra income a month, wouldn't that be worth it? Most people, if they have $1,000 more a month, it can be life changing. I believe it's possible to do way better than that. Okay, we have members that make $500 a day trading market opens, not trading risky, trading a couple of magnets here and there. Okay, you can easily make $500 a week trading the best of the best reports, trading smart, and being helped by people in the community so you take the best trades. We're offering all of those items for $1,500 lifetime. $1,500 lifetime. Software lifetime, all the software, 6 months in the trade room, 6 months of DMM, and this offer ends Sunday at midnight, okay? Sunday at midnight. www.10mtplus.com. You can pay with PayPal, or you could just use your credit card on a regular system. If you want to, we have a payment plan. It's $597 today and 3 payments. www.10mtplus.com. All right. And I'm going to give you 2 guarantees. Our bend over backwards guarantee. If you buy the system, you can come into our trade room. I'll help you with anything you need help with. You know me. Most of you know me. You know how hard I work to make sure that you're able to do what we're doing. And guarantee number 2 is our 3-month money back action guarantee. Spend 3 months trading with us in the trade room. Keep a journal of your trades. First of all, if you can't get the software installed, I'll help you install it in the trade room. You saw how easy it was. You'll be able to do it. But our guarantee is to study with us for 3 full months, trade with us, live cash, sim, or prop in the trade room. Take at least 3 trades per week with us over the next 3 months. Okay? Keep a journal. Continue trading at least 9 days a month on your own if you're not trading with us. Prop, cash, simulation. Just keep a journal for 3 months. That's what we're really asking. If you're not satisfied with the results, send us the journal and proof that you took action, and we'll give you a refund. Okay? If you're not happy. www.10mtplus.com. So what excuses do you have? You could pay $597 3 times. You could save some money and do the main $1,500. You're already a member. We'll add the time of the trade room to your existing subscription, and you then become a lifetime software owner. We do have special rates for members that are lifetime software owners for trade room and DMMs, so it's not a problem. But all of these items you get, all right? You could do nothing, or you could join and take us up on this offer. The offer ends 12. That's the old slide. I apologize. Now, I'm going to do one thing, and I'm going to get into trouble for doing it. The first 3 people that take me up on this offer for the full $1,500, I will give you a full year in the trade room. But that will expire tonight. So if there's anybody that takes us up on the offer, the first 3 people that do it before this evening expires, and I will give you a full year trade room. Okay? That's a flash sale. Expires tonight at midnight. So www.10mtplus.com. Our software is the key. We think it's awesome. I love trading with it. I love teaching everybody how to use it. Any questions, folks? That's the deal. I want to thank everybody for coming. You know, every other company I know that sells software or sells their products sells everything for at least double, if not triple, than what we charge. We've always been way too inexpensive, and we're still keeping our prices fair and reasonable. I think this is an awesome deal, so we would love to see you take part and be members and take advantage of this sale. So that's the deal. Any questions before we go? If not, I want to thank everybody. I really appreciate your being here. And don't forget, of course, we are more than happy if you just become a monthly member. And why don't I put that link in the chat, so that if you want to join us for the monthly membership, it's $97 a month, and you can just join us monthly. I'll put that link in the chat for anybody that, look, not everybody knows us. Not everybody wants to spend $600. So let me put that link in the chat for anybody that wants the opportunity to also trade with us. Give me a second. Wasn't really planning on doing this, but remember, the first 3 people that do the 1,500 deal tonight, by tonight midnight, I'll double your trade room NDMMs, all right, NDMM offer, so that you get a full year, because there is a way that you can upgrade when you place your order. Here's our monthly link. Anyone that wants to take our monthly deal, we'd love to have you join with us. We'd love to have you as a member. Okay, everybody, have a great rest of the day, and you know where I'm going to see everybody. I'll see you in the trade room. Take care, folks.